All right, so I wanted to try something new. We're gonna try to do like an audio tour. This tour is gonna take place from Seattle to around, I guess, like slightly past the peak of Snoqualmie Pass. The point of this is it's supposed to be kind of like you're driving along with us in a car, and I point out random facts along I-90. I do this a lot with Sylvia. She knows this. We're both awkward on camera, so like it's and this is pretty experimental, so don't expect a lot, but hopefully this will be fun, and we can do this together and have this little drive, and you learn something, and we all have fun. So the way this works is I'm kind of pacing it as if we're driving 80 miles per hour.
Okay. So
that the reason I'm doing it so fast is so that you can pause it. If I did it too slow, you would have to fast forward as we went through if I got ahead of you guys. So I'm going to try to go faster than you guys so you can pause it if you need to. It's a lot easier to pause than fast forward something while you're driving, assuming that you're driving and listening to this. Okay, so neither of us are historians. We're just normal people. I just like random facts. And I'm always pointing out things when we drive. So we'll get started here. I'll call out milepost. You usually see those little like posts on the side of the freeway with like mile 3, mile 4. You see those before, right? Yeah. So I'll call it like, oh, this is milepost 3, and then that gives you ideas. So we're like kind of on the same page here as we go along. So we're assuming you're starting by Safeway. So you can kind of start this. Safeway. Is it Safeway? No? You know the baseball field? Mm-hmm. It's T-Mobile Park, yeah. So we're assuming you're kind of starting near T-Mobile Park. You're getting on I-90. You're heading towards Montana or Eastern Washington through the Cascades. But so the first thing we're going to call is at milepost 3. If you look south, you remember that building that's kind of like Art Deco building? It's on the hill. It's like orange looking, kind of like 1920s style building. You'll see it right now if you're on I-90. I'll show Sylvia a picture here. You seen this one?
I don't remember that.
Okay. So you can see this from Safeway Park, and you can see it off the freeway pretty clear. It's kind of an orange building on the hill to your, I guess would be your south. It's a very Art Deco looking style building. It was completed in 1932. It's called the Pacific Tower. It was originally a U.S. Marine hospital, but it was converted to offices in the 80s, and then most recently it served as the headquarters for Amazon. So Amazon was there until... you remember that one, right?
Yeah. Yes, I know what you're talking about.
So Amazon was there until 2013, and then they moved to South Lake Union, which is a couple miles north of this building. And they pretty much took over like the whole South Lake Union neighborhood of Seattle. So like there's several blocks of buildings which are just Amazon now. So we talked for a while. So right now you're probably heading under, let's see, the Mount Baker neighborhood. You're probably heading into, or you're about to head into a tunnel. This tunnel has been here since the 1940s. It's undergone a couple of changes, and right now they're changing it to handle the new light rail that's passing through. Mm-hmm. You know which tunnel I'm talking about, right? So we usually try to hold our breath as we go through here. We're trying to get the pacing right here, so I have a timer here so we can kind of make sure we're on the same page. But so if I'm kind of jumping around, that's why. This is very new. So yeah, now you should be getting out of the bridge, out of the tunnel, I'm sorry, and dropping into the I-90 bridge. You remember that when you come out, you see the whole lake, you see Mercer Island in front of you. To the southeast, over the lake, if it's clear, you'll see Mount Rainier, and you might even see Renton. You know the Boeing factory. You can kind of see it, the one that's here. So you see the Boeing factory, and that's where they build the 737 and 737 Max, the one that's been having so many problems. These floating bridges, let's see here, are so it's the second longest floating bridge in the world.
What's the first?
I want to say the 520, the one that's like 2 miles north of here. I want to say that. I'm like 90% sure.
So we have both.
We have
longest bridges in the world.
We have the first, second, and according to this, the 5th.
Oh, yeah. Cool.
So I don't know what the third and fourth are, but
that was my next question.
No, sorry, I don't have that. But what's interesting is this: the eastbound portion of this bridge sank in 1990, unexpectedly during while they were doing some construction on there. It's kind of an interesting case study in engineering, just because there was a series of errors that led to the bridge failing and sinking. So every time you drive over this, it's just nice to think about how this sank in 1990.
I don't know if it's nice to think about.
Yeah, it was reopened in 1993. All right, so you're currently passing through Mercer Island. You're probably already well through that. Mercer Island is the most densely populated island within a lake within the United States. Did you get all that?
I did.
Okay. It's also one of the wealthiest cities in the state of Washington. And there's been several notable people that lived on the island, including Paul Allen, which is one of the founders of Microsoft. Ann Dunham? Oh, President Barack Obama's mom. That's who it was. I was like, who's Ann Dunham? Why did I write this?
Wow, you didn't know?
Yeah. Everyone knows Ann Dunham. The island was named after the Mercer family of Seattle. At some point in the past, the Snoqualmie tribe had 2 villages on the island, the Native American tribe that was there. And Judge Thomas Mercer had developed Judge Thomas Mercer had developed friendly relationships with the local Native Americans, and would occasionally have Native Americans row him to and from the island so he could fish from the island.
Oh,
yeah,
that's interesting.
It's kind of odd, but yeah. So that's pretty much all I got from Mercer Island. It is a kind of a cool place to drive around. We've driven around there during the summer, and sometimes we go eat there just because it's a scenic place. But that's good.
Oh, refreshing.
That's a good drink. Okay, so you're probably about to head off the island if I'm timing this correctly. So on the eastern side of the island, there's a little bridge, but you can barely tell it's a bridge because it's so short. It's not as long as the one on the I guess western side of the island to Seattle. So you're going to be getting close to the Eastgate neighborhood of Bellevue. So to your north is Beaux Arts Village, which is kind of I think I've told you about that, right? It's this really tiny little community in Bellevue. I think it's its own city. There's 125 residents, but it's this. I think it was originally an art commune, but now it's a very wealthy neighborhood, and they have really cool architecture and stuff. That's slightly to the north when you get over the bridge off of Mercer Island. But you're heading into Eastgate. To the south, the T-Mobile headquarters. Mm-hmm. So you should see looks like a few office buildings. If it's nighttime, then they'll probably be lit up purple. I think we used to pink. Yes, or magenta. It's a T-Mobile magenta color. Pink. So either way, it's the headquarters of T-Mobile, the North American, I guess, T-Mobile headquarters. So just a little interesting little fact about that. We used to think those were northern lights sometimes. Remember when we were driving through and when it was foggy, we'd see the lights?
No.
Maybe it was just
I never thought that.
Okay, maybe it was just me. We're new to the north, the northwest United States. We come from Los Angeles originally, so when we first moved here, I thought it was far enough north to see the northern lights, but apparently not. So there's not a whole lot interesting in this section. After you pass that, it's kind of just suburban neighborhoods. You're probably passing to the north. You see that old tower is a church. I forgot. I think it's a Latter-day Saints church. Mm-hmm. It's right next to Bellevue College. Mm-hmm. So Sylvia went to Bellevue College. That's also slightly north of where you are right now. It's a cool little university. You have anything to say about
college?
That? Nothing.
No.
Yeah. That's how interesting that college is. I'm just kidding. But it's that's kind of just what this area is. There's not a whole lot going on besides houses and a few small businesses. Yeah, so I'm going to take a quick break just to...
Just to what?
I guess have a drink and... I guess I'll open another beer. Okay.
We're back.
Okay, so right now you should be kind of getting close to Lake Sammamish. So to your north, you should start seeing the lake. Remember the lake? I used to work in this area, so like I'm pretty familiar with the lake. The lake is 7 miles long and a half a mile. Oh, this is wrong. 7 miles long and a half mile wide. Yeah, yes. It kind of stretches from the south end. The south end is Issaquah. The western side is bordered by Bellevue, and the northern side is the city of Redmond, and the eastern side is Sammamish. So that's where the lake gets its name. It might be familiar to some people if you're into true crime stuff, because that's where Ted Bundy abducted 2 of his victims. I don't know if that's what people are into, but that's something I found when I was researching the lake.
Did he dump them there or something?
No, he found them there. He took them from some gathering or something. They were enjoying the lake, and he took them from there. Yeah, that's an interesting fact about this area. So now you're heading towards the city of Issaquah. This is the headquarters of Costco that everyone knows and loves. Your favorite warehouse shopping store. To the south, you'll see several mountains, unofficially named the Issaquah Alps. There's a lot of popular hiking trails through here. And on a clear day, you can see paragliders going up some of the mountains. Also, it's has a pretty well-known point. Do you remember the point that's there?
No.
Yeah, you'll remember when I say it. So, Poo Poo Point is known there. You would think it was named after poo, but it was actually apparently named after the sound that trains make. A poo poo. Yeah.
I remembered. I just didn't want to say that.
Yeah. I don't really believe it was named after trains, but that's where.
You think it was literally named after?
It's poo poo. So yeah, that's where. If you ever want a nice little hike, it is actually a nice hike up to Poo Poo Point, and it's a great place to do some paragliding. So this section gets a little slow. There's not a whole lot that I know about this area. It's mostly just mountains until you get into some more interesting points towards Falls City, Snoqualmie, North Bend, and things like that. We took a quick break. I wanted to check the cameras and the recording and make sure we're on pace for everything. So the whole reason I started this was every time we do a lot of road trips. We drive to Los Angeles, maybe once or twice a year. Mm-hmm. We drive to Montana. We've driven to Utah. we're driving a lot. And I'm constantly pointing out random things along the freeway to Sylvia. So I might just even see a fence or even a dump or some old building on the side of the road, and I'm drop it. Remember, I'm always telling you, drop a Google Maps pin so that I can look this up when I go home. So she'll drop a pin, and then whenever we get where we're going, I'll get to my phone. There's a ton of drop pins on Google Maps for me to look up, so I can remember to look up what that random building was I seen on in the middle of I-5 in nowhere, Northern California. So because of that, I have all these random facts along these roads and stuff like that, and I'm I wish there was something I could just listen to and people will point out things as I drive along. So that's what I'm trying to do here. It's experimental. Neither of us are video people. You kind of have to forgive us. We're not supernatural at this, and I'm dragging Sylvia into this.
Speak for yourself.
Yeah. I'm dragging Sylvia into this because she's usually my co-pilot for all these things, and yeah, that's that. So I mean, hopefully this format works. If it doesn't, it doesn't. Maybe someone else can do this too, because I would love to listen to someone else talk about interesting areas that they know about as I drive through their town or a stretch of freeway that they are very familiar with. So yeah, that's the motivation about why we're doing this. I'm just talking right now because it's kind of a little bit of a dead spot in terms of interesting facts. We should be coming up on, let's see here. Yeah, it's mostly Issaquah. You passed, remember that root beer place that has the giant barrel with the XXXs? So you passed that. It's a little cool root beer place. I used to work in Issaquah. It's it's a nice town. It's kind of situated neatly between these little mountains and the lake. Yeah, I'm trying, but I really couldn't find too much interesting stuff on this section. So I'm gonna continue to just enjoy this beer, and within about a minute we should be coming up on the next couple points. So yeah, do you have anything interesting to say about Esqua? They have a Krispy Kremes, which is kind of
we drive
nice.
there.
Yeah, we go there somewhat
once in a while.
Yeah. Have we done anything else? We used to drive down through like little mountain roads between Issaquah and Renton and what was it? There's that little city called Raven or something. It's kind of scary sounding. There's Black Diamond, Maple Valley, to the south of here. You remember there was that one time we drove up into the mountains back there, and we saw that cross in the middle of nowhere next to the Adventist school.
Oh, that was there.
Yeah. So we drove up into this like little mountain road because we were just exploring like areas around Issaquah.
It was also like in the middle of the night.
It was in the middle of the night, during the middle of winter. And we found this cool abandoned school, and then we drove around it. And there's not really any houses, and we just see this cross in the woods that's lit up, and it was like, what, like 10 p.m.?
Yeah,
it was late,
super dark.
And then we turned around and we're leaving, and there's like people having a bonfire in the middle of nowhere. And they're watching us, and then we just took off.
They kind of get up and look at us.
Yeah, so we don't know what's going on there, but it's fun if you're looking for something kind of like spooky. So, anyways, now you're getting to the Preston area. Excuse me. To the north is actually, sorry, I haven't been caught on milepost at all. This whole time I've been messing up.
Oh.
So you
start over.
I almost feel like I should. But you're coming around milepost 23, 24. To the north is Preston, home to the drink company Tuck and Rain. Do you remember the sodas I bring home from work? Not from Rain. It's a nice little like sparkling water company. And they supply a lot of the companies around here with their drinks. Beyond Preston, a little bit further north, east is Falls City. If you head there, you can stay in a treehouse. They have treehouse rentals. At the location is called Treehouse Point.
Oh, like the TV show.
Yes, Treehouse Point, owned by Pete Nelson. So I have that noted here. Pete Nelson was also the star of Treehouse Masters, a reality TV show which aired on Animal Planet. Do you remember that? So the guy would drive around and build tree houses in people's backyards and random places, and a lot of times they weren't built up to code, and people had to tear them down, and it was a big legal mess if you actually had it. Yeah, there's a lot of problems.
You couldn't keep it?
I mean, there's people fighting over it. I guess it still has to be built to code because a lot of these were like houses. Like, you remember they're like fully furnished, or like it was like a full house in a tree.
Who would make you tear it down?
The city, I guess, because it wasn't built up to code.
But it's for my kids.
You still have to have things up to code if your kids are living them. You can't just be like, I'm not gonna...
If you build a tree house for your kid, like it's like 3 pieces of wood and like...
Well, yeah, you can't, but there's like electricity, plumbing. Can you imagine you're just electrocuting your kids and it's like, no, it's a tree house.
No, but I mean, like, can you just say like, it's not a real house, it's just a tree house?
I might try that next time we try to get a permit. Like, this isn't real work, it's just for fun. But we'll see how that flies. But either way, a lot of people had legal trouble with these houses. But they're really cool, and hopefully they got that whole situation taken care of.
So he had his own tree houses you can stay in.
Yeah, he still has them at Treehouse Point, so you can go up there now.
Are those up to code?
I'm assuming they're still there. Hopefully. But it's cool. I would like to stay in one of those. And I wouldn't mind having one.
I wouldn't want to live in one though.
Oh, I mean, if you've seen some, they look like houses.
I wouldn't want to live.
Yeah, I don't think so either. I'm just trying to play devil's advocate there. Yeah, the next point you're getting to would be, you're kind of getting into western Snoqualmie. A lot of these towns around here have kind of like Native American names, if you notice. There's Issaquah, Sammamish, Snoqualmie, Skyhomish, Seattle, of course, that's a Native American name. So I mean, forgive me if I mispronounce some of these. But yeah, so according to my calculations, you should be getting close to Snoqualmie Falls. You remember Snoqualmie Falls? That's where it's like a very popular sight to see in the Seattle area. It's a really cool little, I guess, a waterfall, and there's a viewpoint and a couple other things. There's also a hotel located at that at the waterfall, so you can actually stay in a room that overlooks these falls, even though it's kind of loud and certain times of the year can be kind of crazy with how much water is going over that section.
During winter, isn't it? You can't even see it. It's just wet.
Yeah, it's just it is very wet, but it's just like all it is just fog. Sometimes you'll go there and you can't even see the waterfall. You can't even see past the viewpoint at all. You're just looking into mist. But it's something you should see if you're ever in the Seattle area. But since we're getting into Snoqualmie Falls, if you're a fan of Twin Peaks, Twin Peaks, the TV show, this is the location of the Great Northern. They usually show this in the opening shots. Like they show Twin Peaks, the sign. They show the hotel at Snoqualmie Falls. This whole area is kind of like the setting for the TV show Twin Peaks. You should be getting kind of by this point up towards North Bend. North Bend is actually kind of like the city where I guess that's really Twin Peaks. That's where the Double R Cafe is. It's still there. I don't remember the name of it. It's not the Double R Cafe. What is it called?
They changed it.
Let me double check. They didn't change it. That was the name for the TV show.
Oh.
But the actual cafe is Tweeds. That's what it is.
Tweeds?
Tweeds Cafe.
Or Tweeds.
And recently it was purchased by a fan of the show, so they're kind of restoring it to look like how it did in the actual show. And you can buy they sell a bunch of Twin Peaks merchandise and things like that.
Cherry pie.
Cherry pie. We had the cherry pie there. It was okay, but that was the previous owner, so maybe they've worked on it since then. Also, Mount Si, so it's like the giant mountains you see to, I guess, kind of always looming over North Bend. It's a really nice hike if you can go up there, and it's not too bad for most people. We've done that one. You did that one just fine. Do a Little Si. So I don't know if that's where they got the name Twin Peaks, because there's Mount Si and then there's Little Si. It's actually two different peaks within the same range.
I never thought about that.
We've only done a Little Si and it wasn't too bad. Mount Si is more of a serious... It's more of a serious hike. But if you're hiking people, that's a nice place to go. Let's see where we're at time-wise, so we can figure out where you are right now on this drive. So we're getting close to exit 32, so milepost 32. A couple miles south of here is Rattlesnake Ledge. You remember Rattlesnake Ledge?
I remember.
And overlooking... Oh, sorry, not Rattlesnake Ledge. So Rattlesnake Lake is a couple miles south of here, and overlooking it is Rattlesnake Ridge, which is kind of the lookout that looks over the lake. This is probably one of the most popular, if not the most popular hike in the Seattle area. It's worth going if you can go there on an off day. If not, you're going to be dealing with, it's pretty much like a non-stop line of people up to the peak. You're going to have to deal with kids hanging out near the cliff, just waiting to fall over, people doing yoga for Instagram. It's just a mess. So if you want to be stressed out, maybe you should go. You can sit up there and worry about people falling off the cliff all day long. And people actually do fall off. It's like a regular occurrence. People fall off and kill themselves because they're messing around on this ledge. But I highly recommend it if you can get there on an off day. And it's just a very rewarding hike with great views of the whole Rattlesnake Valley. Yeah. And now so we have a couple miles until we get to the next kind of lookout. We've kind of explored around here a bit. We've done a lot of random hikes and things, but it's I don't know. Is there anything you remember for these?
From where?
The Rattlesnake Lookout area. Rattlesnake Lake. Actually, you know what? We haven't been out there for years. Yeah, it's been a while. It's gotten so crowded that it's I have a hard time working up the energy to go and deal with that. But it's something it's a hike that we went to quite a few times when we first moved here. And this whole area is just covered with a lot of little cool hikes. To the north of here is Middle Fork. Do you remember Middle Fork? We went up there and we had like set up the hammock a couple times and we camped and things like that.
You set up a camera on a tree.
So like the last time we went there, I set up a wildlife camera because I bought one off Amazon and I was like, oh, it's gonna be cool. We're gonna find some like, I'll go hike into the woods and I'll put it up and we'll see some deer and elk and bears and stuff like that. And I'll just leave it all summer and come back. So I left it there. We came back like 2 months later. It was about and we saw like one deer, and then
one little girl.
Yeah, a random little girl in the woods. Like we just on the camera, we just see this little girl walk up. And she's like, "What is this?" And she's like in pajamas, and she's like, "What, like 4?"
Yeah, I don't know. We kind of didn't watch the rest.
Yeah, it was kind of weird. Cause like, why is there a little kid in the forest?
Somebody was camping or something, and then you could hear the mom like call her like, "Oh yeah, come back."
Well, it's not even an area where you can camp. So it was a little weird, and because I specifically like hiked into it like off the trail between trees through brush and stuff, but somehow some little girl found a camouflage camera strapped to a tree in the middle of the forest. And that's the last time I used that camera. So, but it's a nice place, and it's probably the most like convenient place to go camping because you can get away and it feels like you're in the middle of nowhere, but it's like a half an hour from Seattle. Maybe a little bit over half an hour. But if you can get a spot, it's worth it. So now, let's see. We're getting towards a couple more hiking trails and stuff like that. Let's see. Middle Fork was off milepost 35. I know I'm forgetting to call out these mileposts, and I'm sorry about that. But the time-wise, it should work out that you're in the right spot. So around, let's see, you should be getting up to milepost 38, and that's where the Iron Horse Trail is. So the Iron Horse Trail is this, it's an old train, I guess, rail line that was converted a lot to trails. So this, if I remember this correctly, it actually connects all the way up to Renton. So we bike ride along this portion in Renton. And it goes through Maple Valley where it converts back to, I think, maybe... Oh, actually it doesn't convert back to rail line, but it's controlled by the City of Seattle, the Water District. So you can't go through the part of Maple Valley. But then it opens back up around Rattlesnake Ledge that we just talked about. And from there to Iron Horse Trail, it's just a regular trail. So actually, this trail actually will connect all the way to Montana, and they're... well, it's not continuous, but there's sections of bike, and they're actually working on I think it was by 2040, they're trying to connect this whole trail to be continuous bike trails all the way across the country.
Wow.
Yeah, so in 20 years, you might be able to ride across the country on this trail. We did this section through Snoqualmie Pass in, was it last October?
Mm-hmm.
And Sylvia had a great time. We'll talk about that more
I had
later.
the best time.
Yeah.
I had so much fun that I cried.
Yeah, literally. Okay. So you're getting up to milepost 40. To the north of here is Dirty Harry's Balcony, which is kind of a cool little hiking spot. It has great views of the Snoqualmie Pass Valley, I guess, as you would describe it. What's great about this hike is it's not too crowded. We've gone on peak times and it's not too bad, but it's getting more crowded. But I would say it's a good alternative to Rattlesnake Ledge if you're trying to avoid crowds. Sorry if you hear. I didn't realize my dog is under the table eating. So if you hear chewing, let me see if I can.
Chewing her toy.
Yeah. She just likes hanging out with us. So as through this video, I mentioned these different places we've been to and things like that, and I've actually filmed a lot of videos related to the events I'm talking about. So the bike trail that Sylvia was just talking about, and Dirty Harry's Ledge, Middle Fork, all these things that have videos of us hiking in the areas. So in the description for this, I'll include the links so you can kind of see what I'm talking about, actually on film. So it's just kind of cool. We've done so much within this area, and that's kind of the reason I decided to do this video. So check out the description. I'll put timestamps. I'll tie back the video descriptions for the other videos to the milepost, and it'll be nice. It'll be very well organized by the time I upload this, and you could learn a lot, or maybe not, because I'm not really that. I'm kind of still new to the area, even though I like to think I know a lot about what's going on here. I don't really. So let's see. Where are you? Right now you should be near milepost 42, 43, 44-ish area. If you're any further than that, then you probably should slow down.
They're probably not. They're probably stuck at a light or traffic.
Yeah, if it's the winter, then you're probably stuck in snow or something. Well, there's no lights on the freeway. Probably traffic. Yeah. So milepost 42 to 44-ish area is this is Tinkham. I don't know how to pronounce this, but there's like the campground right there. We stop in this area probably once a year because we get our Christmas tree permits, and we actually go.
Oh, we cut down our own tree.
We cut down our own Christmas tree. Almost every year in this area.
It's very fun.
Yeah. I have videos of the last couple of years, so I'll include those as well, like I just talked about. Yeah, but if you didn't know, you can buy Christmas tree permits from the Forest Service, and they kind of manage how many trees can be cut down, and there's a lot of rules you follow. But it's a nice little fun way to get a tree for Christmas. You can cut it down. It's a nice family activity. And last year they actually quoted me in the Seattle Times. I was in the Seattle Times article about cutting Christmas trees down.
You should post a clip of it.
Major celebrity of Christmas trees in Snoqualmie Forest. But I'll post a link to that too, even though it's probably not that interesting. What was I going to say about this? Oh, once you cut down, you can save it and use it as firewood when you go camping the next summer, so it's not wasted. Just so you know, you're supposed to use firewood from the area you're camping in just to prevent invasive species and things like that. So don't feel bad about cutting a Christmas tree down that you have a permit for. Right now you should be getting close to milepost 45 or 46. To the south of here is Bandera Airport. I've never actually seen this airport. We've driven through this area a lot. Have you seen it?
No.
But it's on maps, and I see it on Google Maps. I don't think it's open to people in general unless you have an airplane and you're willing to go fly it into this area. But if you're listening to this and maybe you're flying a small airplane through the pass and you're running into engine trouble, you can use this airport as a great place to do an emergency landing right now. If that happens to you, I would like to know, and you can thank me in the accident report. Alright, I'm gonna do some quick checks right now because we have a bit of a little break. Maybe I'm gonna get the dog a bone so she can stop chewing in the background. I'm gonna make sure all the recording's working, and we'll be back in not too long, a couple minutes. Alright. On the road again. Okay, where are we at? You should be around. Let's see. Somewhere between milepost 46 and 49. Hopefully. If not, then please adjust your recording to fit that. Excuse the dog in the background. She's jumping around. I think she's getting annoyed because she doesn't know what we're doing here. Alright, so to the south of here is Snoqualmie Tunnel. So earlier I mentioned the Iron Horse Trail, and that's like this trail that you can ride across, and at some point it will connect the west side of the country to the east, and you can ride end to end on a bike or hike it, I guess. But we rode the Iron Horse part up to Snoqualmie Tunnel this past October. So the tunnel is like 2 miles long. It's pitch black. It's not lit or anything like that.
It's very scary.
Yeah, it's a perfect I think fall activity. Just going to the tunnel.
I wouldn't recommend it at all.
You could actually drive up to the tunnel, park, and you could just hike through it. But we ended up doing like a 35-mile bike ride to the tunnel. Well, it was 35 miles total. So it was about 15 miles to the tunnel. We rode through the tunnel, had some lunch, rode through the tunnel, and like we were sprinting back to get back to the car before it turned dark.
Yeah, there was no one going through the tunnel at the time. So it was just... Yeah. I don't know if it's busier like during summer.
It's pitch black. It's really creepy. It's damp.
There's water dripping on you.
You need flashlights. So it's 2 miles each way. So you're about spending, if you're hiking or biking through it, it's about 4 miles total if you count going through and back. I think it's a really fun experience. I
never want to do it again.
Yeah, I'm probably gonna do it. I think it's gonna be a yearly activity for me. I have a video of it, so like we have a whole video of like this creepy tunnel experience. This will also be linked in the description. But I think you should do it once. I think everyone should do it once, right?
No.
When she said she was crying,
there's some things that you don't need to do.
Yeah. When she said she was crying, that was like she was actually
not out of happiness.
Yeah, it was.
That was out of anger.
For what?
Because it took so long to get there.
We have this recurring thing where it's hikes end up taking longer than Sylvia expects.
We have this recurring thing where Steven shortens all the hikes to make me feel better. Like, we're 2 miles away, which equals like 10 miles away.
We're always 2 miles away from the end of the trail.
Mm-hmm.
Until it's over. So, anyways, I think you should do it. Yeah. Yeah. So let's see. 37. Right now you're between the tunnel area to the peak of the pass. What's kind of cool is there's like each side of the freeway it's lifted, so like there's some hikes and trails are under this area. I think it's Franklin Falls, I want to say, the hiking trail that's looking at here, but it's really cool. It's like something out of like a futuristic movie. You see like these weird overpasses going through the forest, trees and stuff like that when you're hiking down there. I don't know if Sylvia's been there. I think I've only gone there.
I don't think so.
Yeah,
I don't remember that.
I think I've only gone there once by myself. But it's something. It's really cool if you're hiking into these freeways, just because. I want to see if I can use that word. Is it juxtaposition? Juxtaposition. It's my word of the day today. But the contrast between the freeway going through the trees and the forest and stuff is really cool. I think it's Franklin Falls. I'll include a link to the actual name of the trail that's under there.
Link it down below.
Yeah, link down below. Make sure to follow, like, and subscribe. So.
Subscribe.
Yeah. Let's see. Right now you should be getting to the top of Snoqualmie Pass at roughly 3,000 feet. Snoqualmie Pass is the lowest of the 3 major passes through the Cascade Range in Washington. Actually, I was surprised it was the lowest. It seems like it's one of the highest. One of Washington's most popular ski resorts, Snoqualmie Summit, can be seen to the south. The city of Seattle actually operated a ski resort in the area. So there used to be a City of Seattle Park in the area, even though it's like 30 miles east of Seattle and it's like far. And they operated one of the only it was actually the first municipal ski area in the country, and it was managed by the city's parks department. That was in I think those are like 1930s or something. It wasn't anytime recent. Eventually the city got rid of the park and they sold the operation to a private company because it was so far removed from the city of Seattle. But during that time, Seattle was I guess aggressively expanding, and there's a lot of stories of Seattle bullying like neighboring communities into being annexed by the city of Seattle. So I think this is kind of representative of that. Like, Ballard. Mm-hmm. So like I think it was the neighborhood of Ballard was at one point its own city, which Seattle through various means. I think at some point they even got cut off their water or something. They did a lot of different things to get control of these neighboring cities. That's why Seattle kind of feels like it's a mix of different neighborhoods. It's because at some point it was a bunch of different cities that Seattle annexed. Wow. But that's thankfully come to an end, And anyways, they lost their city ski park, and it was eventually sold, and now it's operated by private companies. So you should be, let's see, about milepost 54 to 56. On the eastern edge of the current, I guess, ski resort area is Snoqualmie Summit. And you can see that to the south. The first resort at this location was the Milwaukee Ski Bowl. It was a ski resort owned by the Milwaukee Road, a railroad company. The resort could be reached via train from Seattle with specialized cars for holding ski gear and a recreation car for dancing. So you can actually take the train from Seattle to skiing up in Snoqualmie Pass. And you can drink, get drunk, dance, just have fun. Unlike now, you have to take either drive yourself or ride up in some like moldy old bus operated by some random company. So things don't always get better. It sounds like they had a much better situation back in the 1940s, or actually 1930s. Much of its early success could be attributed to this train line. After a fire in 1950, the park was abandoned until being taken over by the current resort. Yep. So right now, let's see. You should be coming around, I guess, around milepost 56, 57. You should be close to. Let's see. I'm not going to pronounce this right. Do you want to try this? I know the lake. I think it's Cachilas. We're probably gonna murder a lot of these Native American locations and names. But I think it's Cachilas Lake, which serves as a reservoir for the Yakima project. When water levels are low, you can see many stumps kind of in the lake bed, which is kind of cool looking because it's like this really weird kind of dead looking thing. These stumps are well-preserved remnants of the forest which were drowned. The forests that were drowned when the Cachilas Dam was built, forming the reservoir. So they built a dam, it flooded this whole area and drowned a lot of the forest. So it's a cool little like thing. I've seen like a lot of pictures from photographers. I think there was even like it was featured in National Geographic. They took some pictures of this area when the water was low, and you've seen the stumps in the fog, which is kind of cool. So if depending on the time of year, you might get lucky and see a fighter jet flying through here. You know, there's been times where we've seen those jets flying through really low over the through the canyons at the top of the pass. There's a I'm not sure which base they're flying from. There's a lot of military bases out in Puget Sound, especially Air Force bases, and I think they do training in the area. With fighter jets and things like that. Okay. Oh yeah, fun fact regarding kind of like the whole Seattle military experience is there's over 2,000 nuclear weapons in Puget Sound. It's nearly 1/4 of all the nuclear weapons in the United States. And they're assigned to Bangor, I think it's Bangor, submarine base, just 20 miles east of Seattle. So I used to think we're kind of safe in Seattle. I'm like, it's not a major target if there was like some nuclear war. But given like there's 2,000 nuclear weapons in the area, it probably is a major target for, I guess, foreign countries if we ever go into a nuclear war. But we probably have other problems, I guess, to think about if that happens. Let's see. I don't think we've explored this area that much, like around the lake. The only time we've really stopped here is because that seems like the perfect place for Billy to throw up. Our dog is can usually make it about 45 minutes to an hour on a road trip. Before getting sick, and that always works out to be right at this lake. So we stopped at this lake a couple times to
let her vomit.
Yeah, well, not let her, but it's usually like cleaning up dog vomit, I guess. But she's doing much better now. She's growing, and she doesn't get sick as often on our road trips. But that's just a fun fact if you ever want to tell your friends and family about that as you drive through here. Let's see. I guess you'd be between milepost 60 and 63 right now. I guess to the south, there's a pass called Stampede Pass, which was originally, I believe, a train pass. But currently, there might still be trains going through there, but there's a lot of off-road trails. So you can actually get off the freeway near here and ride off-road through the mountains on old forest roads. You can actually ride up towards Mount Rainier. So it connects with the road with I think slightly north of Mount Rainier, and you can take that into the park, which is kind of cool. I've done that on a motorcycle. There's a video in the description of me riding Stampede Pass on a motorcycle. The opposite direction. I was riding from the Mount Rainier area to this area, but you could just do it the opposite direction, and it's a cool experience if you have a smaller off-road 4x4 vehicle or a motorcycle which can handle dirt roads. What else is here? I guess we're somewhere reaching the end of our little road trip together. I know you're probably sad to see us go, but you can. This area is, I think, it's kind of a special area within Washington. In part, that's due to the work of the Mountain to Sounds Greenway Trust. So it's actually a group of people, businesses, companies, private owners, environmentalists, who all came together to form a coalition to protect this area. So the whole purpose of that is to protect the Snoqualmie, the I-90 Pass, and preserve it for the enjoyment of people and to protect the wildlife in the area. So if you're wondering why this area is so I wouldn't say underdeveloped, but appropriately developed, it's in part thanks to the Mountain to Sound Greenway Coalition. So I think that's all I got for this first little, I don't know if I would say it's episode. I'm not sure what I would say this is. But thanks for going through this little trip with us. Hope you enjoyed it. Yeah.
I learned a few things.
Yeah. I'm really trying to get used to this format. This is a really experimental thing. So I would appreciate some feedback, just anything how we can improve this. Did we go too slow? Did we go too fast? Were some facts less interesting? I don't know. Do you want to try this? Do you want to do your own little ride-along thing? That's not a bad idea. I would enjoy listening to other people do this type of thing. And I'm doing this because I want this. I don't really like doing this type of stuff too much. I'm not very comfortable in front of a camera. But I would like to see some people take this and do things. It would be fun for me to be able to listen to this and learn about other things in the area.
Mm-hmm.
So
we were driving and thinking.
Yeah, I'm like, I wish this existed while I drove. So hopefully I brought something and you learned something, and yeah. So thanks again. Make sure to like, subscribe, check out the description. I have a lot of videos through this area, and I think that's about it for this episode, right? Mm-hmm. Okay, thanks.